Okay, so we're doing a feature here. I've had this one in my folder for a while here, and I was just kind of waiting for the right moment to tackle it. Um, Character by the name of Enigma.
Enigma.
The Enigma. He's been around for a long time. He did. He's a musician and a circus performer. He's done all kinds of cool freak show stuff. He actually was on tour with a lot of big metal bands in the 90s.
I think he used to go to conventions too,
oh,
right?
of course, yeah, definitely conventions. And
The puzzle guy.
yeah, the puzzle guy. Well, there's a few puzzle guys
I
now.
think specifically this puzzle guy, though.
Although, with that said, like he holds the record, I think like 2,300 puzzle pieces or something, Guinness Book of World Records, and you know, this is another one of those things where I think there are some really dumb records, and I also think it took way too long for him to get that record. It's like he didn't get it until like 2011. He started working on this puzzle thing in 1993, I think.
Yeah.
And a lot of his old puzzle pieces were like washed out and faded away.
Wow.
So they didn't count his original puzzle pieces. A lot of them were too faded to recognize. It took them something like 3 hours to count all of the pieces on him. And all I'm thinking is, what an exhaustive, complete waste of time. Look at the fucking guy and give him the award and go jerk off somewhere else.
Well, I mean, it's the same with you. You have countless hours.
Oh, when people ask for the proof, it's like the proof is fucking everywhere.
Yeah, go look on social media, YouTube, your vlogs.
How about any Google search related to me, and you're gonna find how many variations of a full bodysuit. You will not find that of many other people.
Very thoroughly documented your process.
It has been thoroughly documented. We don't need 9 guys counting for 3 hours.
No.
I would never, ever, for a second, wonder if this guy had the most fucking puzzle pieces tattooed on him.
Yeah, me neither.
You just say that? I'm like, oh yeah, I bet that's true.
He's got something real cool going on with his ears.
You know what? His ear looks a little bit like my ear.
Yeah, he's got some little nip-nars there.
He did that on purpose to make his ear look like a piece of puzzle.
Ah, cool. Okay, I was wondering if that's what was up.
No, yeah, it's pieces of his ear scalpeled out or punched out or whatever the fuck they did. Has some implants, subdermal and...
yeah, the horns are really cool.
Yeah, subdermal and transdermal or whatever implants. Horns, he's got implants around his face. Again, one of the first people to tattoo their eyes. At the time he did it, there was a documentary I watched on him, or like a mini documentary I watched on him and his partner at the time. And it was like this big scandal that, he tattooed his eyes, because it was super new then. And like, no one had really seen it. So there's a handful of people that tattooed their eyes in like 2010 to 2013, and a lot of them will claim they did it for the first time or one of the first times. And I just think that it wasn't super common then, and now it is. That's the way I think of it.
It's still not super common. It's way more common.
Becoming fairly common.
Yeah.
Like there's a person around, you know, every big city or two that will have this. In Calgary, there was quite a few people that were doing it, for example. So, you know, it's not the least common thing anymore. His ear, though, however, is way more uncommon.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you're not going to find another ear like that.
Pretty close.
Well, I have pieces like that weren't intentionally done. But his overall aesthetic is, like, very different. I actually, for the record, I like this one more than Matt Gaughan's look, and I think that it comes together better.
Yeah, I really... I'm enjoying his aesthetic quite a bit.
Yeah, no, it's way more intentional for me. Like, Matt Gaughan looked more like he arrived at a destination without necessarily having the plan that this guy had. This dude had one tattoo before he decided to full send with this giant bodysuit. And I admire that, and I would never have the forethought to get there that way myself.
I wonder what the one tattoo was.
I seen a picture of it. I can't remember what the fuck it was. It was some like cartoon character or something. I'll see if I can find it. But yeah, super skilled musician. He plays all kinds of instruments. I think piano was the first one he was trained in.
Oh, neat.
And he got into tattooing really young. I think he had his first tattoo in high school or something. But like in every single interview or like thing I've seen about this dude, he comes across super just down to earth and genuine, and like he has a similar sense of humor to what I have with all of this.
Right.
Like I don't see that very often, to be honest with you. Usually when you're like super modified to this extent and you become kind of famous for it, people seem to get sort of like, I don't know, not narcissistic, but like completely unrelatable.
Yeah.
Or like you can't possibly understand them, and it puts them in a place where it makes this scene look unapproachable.
Well, they're like above everybody else. Or
Yeah, like I've seen people ask him,
other, and they're okay with it.
how does it feel like when you go out and people are staring at you? He's like, why wouldn't they stare at me when you look this good? You know, and he's kind of giggling about it. Like that's something that I would say.
Yeah.
Right. Like I haven't said that, but like that's a similar thing.
That is the vibe you do
Right.
definitely
It's more
portray.
comedic and just kind of course, you
and
know.
I feel like you have been like, well, look at me, of course.
Yeah, well,
like,
I
what
mean,
else?
You don't do it for that reason, but
No.
it will come.
But it is understanding that you I mean, you are a bit of a spectacle, especially in where we're at. But
Well,
this is
I mean, I
cool.
don't
This is
think
a
there's-
tattoo of the
yeah,
tattoo
someone
guy.
you know what? I've seen a tattoo of me on someone not long ago. So this happens. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. This happens when you become,
Well, you're an icon.
when you become an icon, whether you like it or not, right? Like this guy didn't. It's not like you like.
You don't aim for this.
Yeah.
It just happens.
This will happen if you have a following or if you're like prolific in any way or you've done anything of any note.
I think this
will
is
happen.
a nice tattoo.
You know, like there's a version of me that went down this road. I started doing some fire eating and stuff like this at one point, and I really enjoy the whole circus sideshow thing. I was
Me too.
a big fan of all of that
I
stuff.
think you would have made a really good blockhead.
Oh,
I think this guy's
this-
a blockhead.
yeah, so-
as he's putting a drill in his nose. Yeah.
his famous trick that is something only he has done is he'll have an apple in his mouth. I've seen this several times. You can find videos of it online. So a lot of people who are watching this, if you know of this guy, you probably already know what I'm talking about. He'll have an apple in his mouth, and then he'll have a blindfold, and then someone else will have a blindfold. They'll come and bite the apple, and then someone takes a chainsaw and cuts the apple in half in between the two of them.
That is amazing. So seeing the performative aspect, I'm like 99.9% positive I've seen him at a convention.
Oh, probably.
Because there was a time.
He's been on Ripley's Believe It or Not and Guinness Book as well several times.
there was a
I think he was the
time-
cover of Ripley's once.
The Calgary conventions were having more of the circus like sideshow acts come. Like I saw like a walk on glass, sword swallowing, fire eating, the aerial hoop. Like they had a lot of stuff like that. I don't know that they still do it, but
Well,
at the time
It's less and less common, and I think less and less okay in society to, you know, what is it? I guess like objectify freaks or whatever. But it can be empowering in a way, right?
Yeah.
Like this is your art, you know, and you put this much work into something like this, you know, it becomes its own art form.
Can we
and
go
so,
back to the one with the tiger lady?
Yep.
This lady is neat.
Yeah, he was married to her. She tattooed a lot of him, and some of his mods too, I believe. But I don't think
Interesting.
they're together anymore.
Yeah,
she could get her own feature at some point,
I
so I'm
just
not
hadn't
going to
seen her
talk
before.
too much about that. But
There's the apple and the blindfold.
yeah, this is his most famous trick. See, there's the picture I was talking about on the cover
cool.
of Ripley's. But no, this is a really cool aesthetic, and I appreciate the forethought to plan this out from such an early age when you just love tattoos, like to have this huge bodysuit.
And just
Like-
get a couple puzzle pieces done at a time,
No,
probably?
I think actually most of it was done within a month.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like the first layer anyway, I believe most of it was done within a month. But he's been tattooed by over 200 artists and has something like some 2,000 different little tattoos that make up this suit.
Oh, cool.
So it was mostly done in 30 days, I believe. and then a lot of it came after that, just bit by bit. But you can see it's multi-layer, right?
Mm-hmm.
So as some of the old squares have faded out, you can see where
He's put in some new stuff.
new stuff has come into it, and I can't believe that there wasn't a change of direction at any point.
Yeah, I'm surprised. And like, I mean, there's so many things you could do. You could put tiny little like micro-realism pieces on these puzzle pieces. Like, there's so much
Well,
crazy
I don't think
shit that
like
you could do.
I'm thinking that it's not done. You know
Yeah,
what I
you
mean?
think
Like
he'll keep going?
I don't think I think that this is a passion for a lifestyle, and I don't see why you wouldn't keep working away at it, even just bit by bit as you age. You know, like why not?
Well, yeah. Like, how many times he'll probably have to redo some of those outlines.
Well, you can see.
keep
Look at
them
the ones
bold.
on the head, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Like those are going away.
For
so
sure.
who knows how many squares or puzzle pieces he's had in total, but what they could count, because so many of them had been faded off by 2011, there was like 2,300 of them or something.
Crazy.
But I guess if you're doing these, they have to be of the certain size, because he's made them all this size, so you would need to have a fucking ton of them.
And they all fit together.
They all fit together, yeah, they're all connected. And he considers this one tattoo, even though it's many. It's several thousand tattoos. But yeah, no, lovely guy from everything I've seen. I haven't seen anyone ever say anything bad about him. And I think that when you're around this long and you can say that about someone, they've got to be a pretty squeaky clean person. I'm sure someone in the comments will know this guy better than me, and maybe they can
Give
let
a
me
little
know.
insight, yeah.
But like pretty squeaky clean, especially considering he was even in an episode of X-Files.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that either.
So he's pretty famous overall for someone this modified.
I know he's like OG, definitely. Like,
Other
seen
than
him around for a while.
like Zombie Boy, Rick Gahest, I think he might be one of the only super modified people to really break through, like on a mainstream level.
Yes.
Like it doesn't happen very often, since he was, like I said, on tour with famous musicians in the 90s and in an episode of the X-Files and the
I love
cover
the
of Ripley's,
X-Files. Yeah.
like these are not small things. And so his impact, whether you know of him or not, on
quite large.
society and the body mod community is larger than most people would probably understand or give credit to. Like I said, I first seen this guy back in the 90s, and it was like, no one else was doing things like this. So there are some others, obviously, but just the idea that you break through and you show up on a grand stage at a time like that is pretty impressive. So you gotta give this guy his flowers. And for what it's worth, I think he's got, of the extreme body mod figures that have been around for this long, I think it's one of the best looks, and a really great mindset, and super approachable for the industry.
Yeah.
So often these guys get really off on their own shit and unapproachable.
Yeah, he seems like a stand-up guy.
Yeah, I mean,
From what I
from
mean.
what I've seen, he seems to portray this in the right light, and so I can only nod and tip my hat to this fella.
Yeah.
So.
Keep going. Yeah. Awesome.